Thank you very much, Donika. A very good afternoon to all of you. And let me maybe start with the most important takeaway of our mission here. We think that PACE really welcomes the inclusive and peaceful elections in Kosovo. It was really great to see what quality the whole election process had. And also, let me at the beginning thank the authorities of Kosovo to inviting us to observe the election. Without an invitation, we wouldn't be able to observe the elections, of course. So Kosovo voters demonstrated their commitment to democracy by voting peacefully and without tensions during the 9th of February 2025 elections to the Assembly of Kosovo. Members of local election commissions should be commended for their collegial and respectful cooperation, overcoming political orientations and language barriers, distancing themselves from the divisive language and hate speech that used by political leaders, which was a feature of the pre-electoral period. This election presented a pluralistic and a dynamic political landscape of 28 competing lists representing both majority and non-majority communities. Moreover, that the participation of Kosovo Serbs, who were offered a wide range of political options, contributed to a more inclusive electoral process. Our 24-member delegation, where I had the pleasure to be the chair of, was comprised by 18 members of parliament, representatives of the Venice Commission and staff who observed the elections in Kosovo in the time span between the 7th and the 10th of February. The 11 observer teams were deployed all over the country, and you will be able to read where exactly, in what locations and cities exactly, in the press paper you will get directly after the press conference outside in paper copies. These elections were conducted in accordance with the election law of 2023. The nation acknowledges that the amendments to the law aim to improve the overall transparency of the electoral process. The lack of clarity regarding the criteria for the participation of party representatives of non-majority communities in local elections commissions of non-majority municipalities needs to be addressed. The new legal framework also strengthens financial oversight of campaigning expenditures, which is a very important step towards European standards. The law provides a gender quota on party lists. However, the representation of women remains low, and we will see if the preferential vote system for seats allocation will negatively or positively affect the number of women elected. Online hate speech against women has also had a determinal effect on their participation and visibility in this election. Awareness raising in existing tools and possibilities to assist people with special needs should be reinforced. Adequate measures to ensure access for persons with disability or with reduced mobility should also be implemented in all polling stations to guarantee access to the fundamental right to vote for all eligible voters. During its pre-electoral mission a month ago, the delegation noted that the election campaign was generally calm despite polarization and inflammatory rhetoric reported to the Electoral Complaints and Appeals Panel. Some isolated incidents, including destruction of campaign material and intimidation of candidates, were also documented. The media landscape was characterized by a lack of regulation of social media. Questions arose about the functioning of the Independent Media Commission, transparency of media ownership, and potential impact of disinformation. The ruling party's boycott of 3 prominent television stations was seen as detrimental to public information. The Central Election Commission generally worked well. it had to deal with last-minute challenges arising from public procurement, for example, problems with transportation of election materials abroad, or the quality issues with the ink that was used in the polling stations. The last-minute decision to allow the use of expired Kosovo identification documents also caused some confusion. Training of the electoral administration, which was sometimes perceived as late and insufficient, voter education, and the display of electoral information in the polling stations could be improved. The delayed online publication of the preliminary results was also seen as a shortcoming. The 2023 election law, adopted by a large majority in the Assembly, introduced new modalities for out-of-country voting, allowing diaspora voters, of which there are, many, to cast their ballots abroad not only by mail but also in person, even with expired Kosovo identification documents. While the expansion of the opportunity for out-of-country voting is very welcome, the authorities must address the issue of the voters' lists, which must be accurate and reflect the reality both at home and abroad. Inaccuracies in the civil register led to outdated voters' lists, which paves way for a lack of confidence and fear of possible manipulation. Mechanisms should therefore be put in place to ensure that the civil register and voters' lists are continuously kept up to date and factually accurate. The delegation, to conclude, the delegation's election observation report will be discussed at the PACE April part session, and the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe, such as the Venice Commission, stand ready to cooperate with a view to further improve the electoral framework of Kosovo.